Hello and welcome. My name is Will Dawson, and I am doing Construct 3 tutorials as a follow-up and extension of Matthew Markwitz's excellent series on Construct 3. At this point, we've got a lot of stuff happening in our level so far, and I would like to add some audio to it. So let's get going with that. For those of you who are in my class, I have already made available to you this zip file, which contains these audio assets. And so we'll be loading those into the level here. The first thing that we need to do in order to do that is add, let's see, I hit something else, insert a new object here, and we need the audio object. None of the audio will play unless we add audio to our scene. So if we scroll down here to media, here is our audio object. Once it's in here, you'll notice that it appears in our object types list over here. So that's it. Audio will work now. We just have to put it in, and now it does its thing. For our sounds that we would like to play using the audio, we need to come down here and look at the sounds and the music folder. Now, these are almost the same thing. The difference mainly being that sound effects are generally very short and need to happen quickly in sync with the game. Music tends to be much bigger, longer sounds, right? I mean, a sound effect could be a tenth of a second for footfalls and stuff like that, footsteps. Music could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes worth of music. And you don't need all 10 minutes to be loaded into the computer's memory for it to be able to play. The music can stream from your storage disk 10 seconds at a time and not take up very much actual space in memory, and it just acquires the next 10 seconds as it sort of gets close to the end. That's the main difference, is how it handles memory and retrieving the information between the sounds and the music. What you load into the sounds folder, that will pretty much load right away at the beginning of your layout starting, so that those sounds will be available instantaneously with no lag. If you suddenly hit an enemy, which the computer hadn't anticipated, you don't want an extra tenth of a second to go by before you hear the sound of the hit. That creates a really weird effect for the player to hear a sound happen after the sound should have happened. So basically, to load our sounds in here, I'm just going to click the Import Sounds button from the menu on our Sounds folder. And I'm going to come back over here to the sounds. I've highlighted the sounds and not the zip file. I'm just going to drop them in here. And then I'm going to click the Import button. And there they are. We can hear those. So I've got like a sound for picking up a coin. I've got enemy damage. I don't remember what this sounds like. Yeah. The little synthesizer thing that I was making these sounds with had a pretty limited palette. So I just kind of went with a sound that could work. So we have our sounds, we have the audio object to play them, and now we just need to go to our event sheet and have the appropriate actions that should have a sound make the sound. So I'm going to start at the top here, and I'm just going to kind of scroll down through everything that we have here and look to see what kinds, which actions are in this list, which events should be making a sound. So if I'm walking or standing, I don't think I need sounds for that. Or switching back and forth. If I'm jumping, I could have a sound for that. I'm going to skip it, though. Jumping and landing, those could have sounds, but okay. Picking up a coin, that I feel like should have a sound. So I'm going to add an action, and we're going to grab, it's going to be an audio. We're going to play the sound coin. Here's all the list of all the files that we just imported. We're not going to loop this. Music, you would want it to loop. It would come to the end and start at the beginning again. So it would loop around and around and around and never stop. When we pick up a coin, we want that coin to sound once and not to continue going ching, 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 ching forever. So we're not going to loop. the volume here, if we click in here, it tells us a little about it. So the attenuation in decibels. Attenuation means you're turning it down. So digital files are always at full volume unless you turn them down. So 0 is normal, and you give it you can turn it down from there. So this setting volume right here by reducing the volume of things is how you're going to sort of balance how loud things are next to each other. Are your sound effects louder than your music? Are your music louder than your sound effects? Which do you like? In this case, I've kind of made the sounds the appropriate volume for the game. We'll probably have to fine tune it a little bit, but just leaving everything at 0 right now should probably do pretty well. So we've got our coin is not going to loop. It's going to play at the regular volume. And there it is. Before we continue and do everything else, let's real quick just test this thing. I have a coin right in front of us. Let's see if it makes the sound when I pick it up. There we go. So far, so good. We have no sounds when we hit the zombie. But there's another coin, and that works. Okay, so every time that it calls the coin event, we get the play this audio action. Okay, what else do we have in here? Let's see. Coins. Setting a new checkpoint. That could have a sound. I don't have a sound for that right now. If the player falls outside the layout, I have a sound for him being damaged. So yeah, I think we can do that. I'm going to add an action to the bottom here. I don't want it at the bottom. I'll move it up to the top in a moment. We'll play the sound of player damage. Not looping, volume 0. And we don't want it to happen after we wait 5 seconds. Let's drag that all the way to the very top. So that should work. We'll test it in a minute. Zombie patrolling is fine. Zombie hits the wall to switch patrolling. These don't need sounds. When the player collides with a zombie, again, we want the audio to play. The player is damaged. Not looping. Okay, good. And we want that to happen instantly. Okay. When the space bar is pressed, we get an attack. I have a sound for an attack. So audio. Next. Play the player attack sound. Okay, so set the animation to attack. Player movement is deactivated. This will all happen pretty much instantaneously. None of these things that are in front of our play audio sound here are going to delay the beginning of our audio. So if you're worried about it, you can always take the audio and set it up at the top. In this case, I know that simply telling the animation to switch to the attack and then setting the group to deactivated, those are all instantaneous and it's not going to delay this. Okay, so if the attack is playing, if the attack is finished, when the zombie collides with the slash, we want, so this is where the zombie is going to take some damage. So yeah, we want the zombie to acknowledge with audio that it got hit. So we're going to play the enemy damage sound. And we want that to happen not after we wait 0.1 seconds, instantaneously. The zombie's already making a sound if we hit it. So I don't think we need a second sound if it dies. Although that's a consideration. You could do that. And perhaps we should have a sound for our destructible blocks, but I don't have one at the moment. So at this point, the main thing is that I want to get you guys comfortable with sticking some sounds in. So you can always go and find additional sounds if you want to fill out the flavor of your level a little more. I said so in the Google Classroom assignment, but you can always go to a website like freesound.org and find some sounds to use there, or you can make your own. Or you can hire somebody to make the entire palette of sounds for your game. Let's add an event. This is going to play the music. So the system is going to, I believe what we needed was at the when the layout begins. General, on canvas. Save and load. No. On start of layout. That's exactly what we want. So we've got a start and end section. So on the start of the layout, we are going to trigger an audio, play our music. This one we are going to loop. Looping. Okay, so that's it. When the game starts, music will play. We should have everything in here. Let's have a quick look again at what we've got. So here's an audio for coin. We tested that already, so I'm not going to specifically look for that. Audio if the player falls out of the map. Audio for if the player is damaged by a zombie. Audio when we make an attack. Audio when we hit the enemy. And music. Okay. I'm going to save that before we continue. Okay. So, here we go. Do we have music? We have music. And I'm going to find this coin. Okay, so far so good. Let's... Yeah! Guys, I think we have all of our sounds. We just need to... I don't anticipate a problem with the sound just for falling out of the map, but let's try it. Turns out I'm no good at games. Okay, all of our sounds seem to work. Good job, guys. So make sure you've got similar sounds working in your game. Make sure you test it. Make sure you make choices as to if it's where in a series of actions you need to have your sound. If you're going to put a sound in there, does it happen before or after a wait or something that's going to take up some time? So just consider how the logic is going to work where you put your sounds in and what you need sounds for. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much.